Boss, we have an emergency. Many of our staff are falling ill. At first it seemed like a common cold, but before we knew it, blisters started popping up on their chests and... Damn it. I'll fill you in at the ACC. Just get in the chopper.
Mission
Look
list
closely.
updated.
Those are the symptoms of the infection on Mother Base. The blisters on the body were full of tiny worms. Parasite larvae, most likely. But we couldn't find any adults. It doesn't seem to mature in the body, like a spargatum. We don't know the root of infection, or what causes symptoms to develop.
Boss, do you remember seeing these symptoms before? The bodies floating around in the oil facility, the bedridden test subjects at the Devil's House. This epidemic looks just like what we've seen on our hunt for Cypher.
So this is the weapon of mass destruction Cypher was working on in Africa.
Boss, the situation is urgent. We need to quarantine the infected and contain the pathogen. Priority now is to prevent more casualties. But the problem is, how do we tell who's infected? During the incubation period, we have no way of knowing who's clean. You'll have to try and guess who's infected before they go symptomatic and quarantine them. That'd be easy if we just knew the route or vector of the infection. From now on, if you even suspect a staff member's infected, use your iDroid to order them into quarantine. Given the situation, the men won't submit to quarantine just because I or the medical team tell them to. But they will listen to you. Of course, it's just a temporary measure until we find a permanent solution. But at least they'd be in solitary isolation so they won't infect each other, and we get the mental care they need. If we do nothing, we'll only lose...
So, this one's...
We have no choice.
You done talking there, buddy?
iDroid.
So, this one. Staff management.
I'll explain how to quarantine staff members suspected of infection. Go to the Mother Base menu and select...
This is gonna take a while. This is one of the problems when you have so many people. They want me to go to quarantine.
The quarantine facility we've set up.
And then you have to hit display.
Anyone who's already symptomatic at the quarantine facility.
And you have to look at some
We have to
things.
expect that there are multiple staff who are infected, but asymptomatic. So how do we identify them? At present, we have no way to tell them apart. But there has to be something for us to go on. If you notice anything, reassign staff you suspect are infected to the quarantine facility. We'll monitor them and then contact you if there's a change in their
So
condition.
you basically...
Quarantining these
it's still talking.
infected will reduce the number of new infections. You should continue with your missions as usual. If Cypher is behind this, going after them should help us determine the root cause of this epidemic. Also, until we identify the pathogen, we can't fire or dispatch any staff. We cannot let this thing spread. Boss, get to the bottom of this fast.
Yeah, stop talking and I'll get to the bottom of it. Basically, I realized this like when I first played it, because it all goes back to the tapes. So when you look at these guys, like what do they have in common?
Clear shortly.
You would think nothing, but then you'd look at their language. And one of them sticks out. While some have English. I guess in this case, everybody has English? So you could think English, but if you remember, English wasn't one of the languages that they were doing in voices. It's actually Kikongo. So you have to go through your entire personnel, find the ones that speak it, and quarantine them. And when you have 595 people, it's going to take a while. So, that's going to take a bit. And it does take a bit because if you don't quarantine them, people can die.
Development complete.
And you can lose a lot of people.
Development complete.
And this is one of the problems when you're doing this game. If you're just taking so many people like I did,
Complete.
but you're already. Yeah, I don't know where you are. And some of them are out, so you have to wait until like they come back. But it's gonna take a while. And some people are out on like the dispatch mission, so you can't take them just yet. Now, technically, you don't have to do this part. Truthfully, you don't have to do this. If you fly through the game and just do the main missions back to back to back, you don't waste a lot of time doing it, you'll be fine. Hey, look, he's the interpreter. Bye bye, buddy. We got so many people. Okay. And this does obviously hurt your levels, so it's one of those things where develop what you want to develop before you do this part. And just be careful, like if you take new people, you know, maybe you don't want to be taking people that speak the language. But if you do, well. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, you can just fly through this part of the game without having to do this. But you have to basically do the rest of the missions until like 31 and not spend too much time. Or just spend the time doing this and then you'll be safe. we're almost halfway through this part. Like I said, it takes a while, especially if you've been, getting a bunch of people for your base. We're getting there. This just takes forever. Especially, like I said, I have almost 600 people. Feel like I've been at this for a long time. Like I said, that's one of the downsides to doing all this and filling up your base. Oh, we're almost there. Wonder what that means. That little symbol on them. I don't know.
Select unit. Staff has been quarantined.
Alright. We'll quarantine the staff you
That took a
specified.
lot of.
Did you figure out what's causing the
It
infection?
took a lot of stuff down. It took a lot of stuff down. Okay. Like I said, there's some people that you couldn't put because I think they're in the brig. Like these guys are in the brig, and I think some of these guys are actually out on a mission right now.
Incredible, boss. Thanks to you, the
3
number of
staff dead.
infections has plummeted. And the common point between the infected. Is it really possible for a disease to spread because of that?
Boss, a new job's come in. It's a hit. I'm the human trafficker who sent Shivani and the others to Nzoya Badia Bulu, where you ran into Skullface. The thing is, this guy might know something about the disease that's going around Mother Base. The symptoms are similar to the ones we saw at that factory. Start by checking the mission details on your iDroid.